Hello, everyone. Welcome back to riskfeestaxes.com. I'm Imran Razvi with Higher Ground Financial Group, and this is Daniel Razvi, our tax attorney, resident tax attorney. He owns Higher Ground Legal. So we work together to really help our clients get the best of everything, especially in retirement. So
we talk about the three killers, right? The three biggest killers: risk, fees, and taxes. And that's our website, riskfeestaxes.com.
And we'd say there's another killer too, but we can't do anything about it, right? Is inflation. Inflation is a big killer of your money. But we really can't do anything about inflation except for we can plan to have more money. I mean, on average, when we do an analysis for a client, a risk-free tax analysis, we normally get them to have a little bit more income. What's the average amount of income that we can get?
Most of our clients have at least 50% more income after talking to us.
So let's say if I could have $200,000 income or I could have $300,000 income, but I think I want 200, right? That makes more sense. No, we normally have about 50% more income for our clients than they thought they could. And they've gone to multiple advisors before coming to us to see that.
And if you could live on only 200,000 of income, great, because that other 100,000 is going towards inflation protection. And it's a good thing to have extra income more than you need.
And then, when we do the analysis, we also help people reduce taxes. On average, about how much do we help people reduce taxes?
Most of our clients save over $1 million in taxes by working with me.
Yeah. And in fact, last week we had a client who saved them, I think, $2.5 million in taxes. So exactly. The more money you have, the more you can save in taxes. And so those are things that we want to worry about. But inflation, let's bring that back up again. Inflation is something that's really not in our control. But if you have more income, you can ride the inflation. You have 50% more income, then inflation becomes less of a problem. It's still a problem, but it's not going to deplete your assets in such a way that they're not worth it and you can't feed yourself. But right. Social Security has in 2024, they announced for 2025 a 2.5% increase. And then, I don't think inflation was that low. And then
2025, they announced for 2026, what was it? 2.8. 2.8.
So that's so much.
If you're listening to this program and you want to call us and tell us, you think the inflation rate was actually only 2.8% in 2025. I know you see the news reels and you see the numbers. Oh, inflation's down. Okay. Inflation being down doesn't mean prices go down. It means they stop increasing as fast as they were increasing before. The price that you have isn't going back to where it was before.
That would be called deflation, and nobody wants deflation because they start changing the value of the dollar completely.
And it's not so inflation is going to be with us, and Social Security goes up, but it usually doesn't go up by quite as much as what most Americans feel the actual inflation rate is.
Yeah, inflation is so bad.
How bad is inflation?
That now I have to get a cosigner to pay cash. So the thing is, inflation is a lot worse than the government tells us. Okay, the government tells us it's 2.8%. I don't think it's 2.8%. That's not what we feel out in the real world. So what do we do about it?
Well, one of the things you can do is have assets or income that's going up every year, hopefully by more than whatever the projected inflation rate is.
And hopefully more than what it actually is, right?
Yes. And so there's Social Security is one type of pension. There are other types of pensions. There's income annuities that also have increasing income. Mm-hmm. And many of them will just follow the increasing income of whatever the CPI is, the inflation rate that's announced every year. But there are other ones that will increase when the market's up. And so that might give you a 5 or 6% increase some years rather than 2 or 3. Yeah. And that could be useful for the long term. But we talk about, this kind of brings us to Social Security in general. I mean, when should you take Social Security? And in many of our clients' cases, we actually tell them to take Social Security early.
As soon as possible. That means if you're not working, take it at 62. If you're working, you kind of can't take it if you're making any kind of real money, because if you're making more than $24,000, then for every $2 you make, $1 Social Security goes away until full retirement age. It's FRA. Full retirement age is different for some people. It just depends on when you were born. But let's just say it's 66 and a half or 67. So once you hit that, you definitely should take it, even if you're still working.
And again, this is especially for people that have already saved a lot of money. Yeah. If Social Security is the only check you're going to get in retirement, or it's the large portion, most of your income in retirement, then yes, delaying is a good idea. And you hear that on the radio all the time. You hear that from other financial advisors and on the media. Then all the articles you read, delay Social Security. You're going to get more by waiting. And for the average person that doesn't have a lot of money saved for retirement, that's true. But if you have a few $100,000 saved or more, then you are way above average in income and wealth in this country. Social Security is important, but it's a small piece of your retirement income. If that's the case, you probably want to take it early, not late. And there's a few reasons why. One is what we just mentioned a few minutes ago about inflation. Because we know that inflation on Social Security is not usually as good or as high, no, good is the wrong word, as high as real inflation feels, then it's worth more to you today than tomorrow. The other reasons are you get taxed less on Social Security than on other assets because there's always a small piece that's tax-free. And you also reduce the strain on your investments.
Yeah, let your investments grow.
This is really important because if legacy is any part of your plan, you want to leave any money for your kids, and you have a choice. You have an IRA, you have Social Security, and you could take Social Security now and not spend as much from your IRA, or you could spend more from the IRA and wait on Social Security. What happens if you die early?
Social Security dies with you. Your investments don't.
There's no death benefit for Social Security?
Oh yeah, there is. It's $270.
So you want to get $255 or so for Social Security?
Yeah, so you can't even buy flowers for your funeral at that rate.
Right. That death benefit, it's around $250 or $270. It was basically never been changed since Social Security was invented. So for all intents and purposes, there is no death benefit for Social Security. That means it dies with you. You can't leave your Social Security to your kids. You can leave your IRA.
Yeah.
And even if it's taxable, it's still more than zero, which is basically what Social Security pays. So if legacy is part of your plan, you want to take Social Security earlier so you can reduce the strain on your investments, not have to pull as much out of the investments. And that can also reduce your taxes and so on.
Yeah, and Daniel, I didn't tell you this past week. I had a client that was 70, almost 72, and he had not taken Social Security. He had just filed for Social Security so he can go backwards, but only 6 months. That's it.
Well, they're going to give him all the money that he missed, but they're not going to give him any increase on that income.
Only 6 months back. He called them, they verified, so he couldn't do it. And so you don't want to wait that long. I mean, don't wait on taking Social Security. Take it as soon as you can. It really is important because it does so many different things for your portfolio, for your benefits, for your family. Take Social Security. Don't wait that much.
Yeah. And again, this is particularly for people who have money saved. I mean, those are the people that listen to this program usually are people that have several $100,000 to several $1 million or more saved for retirement. And you're not relying on Social Security as the only check. If it goes away, if Social Security disappears, that's going to be really frustrating and annoying, but it will not stop you from eating because you have other savings. And so what do you do with that other savings? You want to make that positioned in a way that increases your income for inflation. And one of the great ways to do that is if you have a much better withdrawal rate than what most advisors tell you is only take 3% or 4%. If you have some kind of guaranteed income or some kind of safe and certain income because of, a lot of your money is protected from loss.
Like a volatility buffer.
Exactly.
And you can go to our YouTube channel at Higher Ground Financial Group and look up volatility buffer. You'll learn a little bit more about that. But if you have those strategies, you can actually take out maybe 7%. That's almost twice the amount of income. And
that's by having much less money in the market, more money allocated to guaranteed sources.
It's kind of backwards thinking, right? You think, well, I have less money in the market growing, but I can take more money out and my money will last longer. Wow. It's math. So the thing is, when you work with what the volatility of the market and goes up and down, you're limited in what you can take out if you want the money to last. If you take away some of the volatility, at least half the money, then you can actually take out a lot more money.
Exactly.
And even if you don't need it, you can take it out and give it away to your kids, grandkids, or give it to charity, whatever you want. But I'd much rather see you have, 50 or 60 or 70% more income and still have the ability to have as much money for legacy as you want.
So again, our clients often retiring 3 to 5 years sooner than they thought was possible. They have 50% or more additional income than they thought was possible. And that could be you. Everybody's different. Everybody's a little bit different in the way they have things set up. But in many cases, we are able to massively increase the income clients are receiving while providing much stronger certainty and guarantees on a large portion of that income. And that's really, really important for retirement. And we want to do that without sacrificing legacy.
Right.
Because we were talking with a client just the other day. I said, we showed her, you're going to have about, 30%. In this case, it was a little lower. It was about 30% more income than she thought was going to be possible because she was already estimating very high. What she was hoping for was unsustainable. But with making some adjustments, we were able to actually even exceed what she was hoping for by another 30% or so. And she's like, well, this is great, but this involves tying up some money in certain places that is probably not going to be used for legacy anymore. what do I do? Because I wanted to still give the kids plenty of money. We said, well, we beat the income projections, in her case, by about $4,000 a month. That's $4,000 a month, every month, more than what you were going to be spending.
It's almost $50,000 a year, actually.
So if you really don't need that extra money because you were going to spend what you were planning to spend anyway, let's take the extra $4,000 and put it in a life insurance policy. The life insurance policy at death is going to be far more than the money that you locked up in this income strategy. And now your kids get that money tax-free instead of getting it taxable from you from the IRA. And she said, well, that makes a lot of sense. Now I have more income than I would ever want to spend, and my kids still get a tax-free legacy that was bigger than they would have gotten before.
And in case of an emergency, there's still cash value in the life insurance she can go back to if she needs to. So she takes some money out of there if she really has to. So it's not completely...
Especially for in later life for inflation or for long-term care and so on. So there's a lot of strategies that we can work with, and everybody's a little different in the way that they want to be doing things. Some people call in and they say, I don't want to leave anything to my kids. And some other people say, I want to die a pauper so my kids can be rich. And there's other people that want to balance. They want a legacy, but they still want income, and they just don't want to sacrifice one for the other.
Yeah, and we also come across people that waited too long to get long-term care insurance, and now they can't afford it, or they can afford it, but they can't qualify. They've gotten sick or something, they can't qualify. But there is a company out there that will cover anybody. It might not be the best, but at least they'll still put a hedge against the rest of your money. So even if you think you can't qualify, if you're not already in a nursing home, that kind of kicks you out. But if you're not in a nursing home now, there's a likelihood that you can get some long-term care coverage even then. So talk to us at riskfeestaxes.com. We'll give you your options. The whole idea is to give you more options so you make better decisions.
And Raz, how much does it cost to meet with us?
It's free. Absolutely free. Now,
is it a video call?
So it's a video call. You don't even have to pay for gas. But, really, for us to be able to do the best benefits, you should have close to $1 million of assets or more to really benefit from the taxes and the fees and risks that we can help you with. If you have less than that, we'll still answer your questions to help you. But to really be able to get real help, I think if you have $1 million or more in assets, then we can make a huge difference in your family.
So go to our website, and that website is riskfeestaxes.com, the 3 biggest killers in retirement. Riskfeestaxes.com. Talk to you soon.